What's going on, gamer? So this is not about it being an Xbox or whatever. We're kind of like pretty much past that. Though I'm getting a lot of comments. I may do a video on it, but I don't know, man. I'm kind of getting burnt out of that. This is what I'm telling you guys. Like I said, whether you think it is or not, it's going to function the same way. So do you really want it or not? If you're not going to get it, I just do not know what to say to you. That you're going to be doing all that and you're not buying one. Yeah, that's the most biggest loser stuff I've ever seen. I'm only interested in people who actually care about the device. So, are you going to get one or not? This is what matters. And is it going to do what you want it to do for you? This guy right here says he doesn't think it's worth $1,000, definitely compared to the Steam Deck OLED and his experience. He hates Windows. He's disappointed in Game Pass, so he's going to be canceling it, but he does like the device. So let's see what he has to say, and let's get into this. Remember, this is not about that stuff anymore. We're doing different things here.
News video, but this week in terms of news, the thing I want to talk about is the new Xbox handheld. Reviews are dropping. I have had a review unit. I've been messing around with it for about a week now, living with it, and I definitely want to say some stuff about it. This is essentially first impressions. I'm going to do a more in-depth, detailed video on game ranks at some point, but as kind of like a practice or audition for that, I just wanted to get my off-the-cuff first impressions here with the this Steam Deck OLED. That was not intentional. This is the Asus ROG Ally X. This has been the much talked about Xbox handheld, but it is essentially a Windows handheld. More than anything, it is an Xbox branded Windows PC gaming handheld. Don't get it twisted. This is not just like a portal. Like I'm just holding everything up today. I'm not. This isn't like a PlayStation Portal. You're not playing just native Xbox games on this or anything like that. This is something more akin to a Steam Deck. Now I bring up Steam Deck specifically because I love the Steam Deck very much. Steam Deck is like my favorite thing in the world. I use it so much. I am a PC gamer. But I hate Windows. I've been on record about
me too.
that. I just don't like it at all. So anything that removes, like I understand it's a necessary evil for a lot of things, but whatever kind of pulls me away from that, I'm happy. So I went into the ROG Ally X device, the Xbox Ally X, pretty excited about how they were talking about the Windows or Xbox full screen experience here. So now that's what you get with this. When you fire up the Ally X, you're not getting like, Windows or some proprietary Asus kind of overlay. You're getting the Xbox full screen experience, which is essentially an Xbox interface that is a catch-all for all your games that you have installed on this thing, whether it's on Xbox or Steam or Epic Games or GOG or whatever. So it has all the Windows capability, but with a lot of it stripped away, giving you this very simple, basic, intuitive interface. And, according to them, and I'm not a frame counter, but according to them, you get a little bit more memory because everything is a little bit more simplified. So having used it now for a minute, like off the cuff, I just want to say that these types of things take time. I think you really need to spend a shit ton of time with a device to really, really make a big opinion on it. And especially with this one, it's heavy, man, because it's $1,000 US. I'm using the higher tier SKU one. This is the power user one. So $1,000 in the US is very difficult to recommend if in any instance, let alone the economic circumstances right now, all that. And it is a niche device for a very niche consumer, presumably an enthusiast, a hardcore type person. So like
an Xbox fanboy or a guy who has a whole bunch of money. You just have a bunch of money. You just want to buy the extra devices because you like to buy any device that comes out. There's people that are just like that. And they may just sit around. They just want to have everything. You know what I mean? But it is not for the common home, not even close. It's for a small percentage of the gaming community. Very, very, very small, like a niche aspect. He's very right. You'd be happy if the thing sold 1 million copies. So it's really for a very minute audience. But, if you want to get it, go ahead and get it.
I guess I'm speaking to those people at some point, but I will say if you're a console person and this is going to be your first PC gaming handheld, it's still going to feel like a PC. Weird shit happens with this thing. It makes Windows noises sometimes. Sometimes you see Windows. It's not completely hidden. It's not completely stripped back like they're saying, but they just do a better job of keeping it out of your face. And I do like that this catch-all Xbox UI gives you all your stuff. It's interesting though with Xbox changing and, having Game Pass front and center on the tab for full screen experience. I am someone who, like many people, the Game Pass price subscription cost has just gone up, losing a lot of consumer goodwill and faith. And
Mm-hmm.
I personally am very much probably going to let my Xbox Game Pass subscription run out because I don't want to pay the new higher prices. So now I have
Yep.
this device and it's very exciting.
Or if you were lucky like me and stacked up a bunch of keys, you can have months sitting around, which I do. You know what I mean? Up in the PC market.
Excited to like show me my Game Pass games that I may eventually not even pay for anymore. But besides that, when you just have apps that you've installed from Steam, Epic, GOG, and Xbox or Microsoft, whatever, it's nice to have them all at a glance. And with that, what I really like is this kind of like Alt-Tab feature where you hold the Xbox button on this thing and then it brings up it's kind of like an Alt-Tab, how you do on PC, but it just feels less craptastic or weird. It's not perfect, but like when it works best, it's like instantaneously bouncing back and forth between apps, like a quick resume type thing. But because it is Windows, sometimes it just won't work. Sometimes it'll freak out on you. It's just kind of like the nature of these things. But like sleep and standby actually seems to be a thing here, which is really interesting for a Windows device. But for me, I've just been playing a ton of stuff. Rogue Prince of Persia, a game.
So he's not the first person. Why is it that every person I run into, they're telling me this thing freezes on them? And it doesn't, it just stops responding and they have to reset it, and it interferes. Like, remember what I told you guys before this comes out? Remember, this is not going to be a perfect device, just like anything else. Keep your expectations low that it's going to have problems at launch. I mean, of course that's going to happen. They're not perfect, you know what I mean? You got a lot of updates to come, a lot of optimizations to go. Like, every game's going to launch for it perfectly. That's childish and unrealistic. And for the price point, like I said, I could just never agree with this no matter what. Do I think it's a cool handheld? Yes, but $1,000? Hell no. That's the problem. It's the handheld price, and then that other stuff that I'm not getting into that I've already covered, but we'll see.
Game I've loved, I've talked about in the past. I've been jumping into the 1.0 version of it, but then I've also been able to take advantage of things I wouldn't do on a Steam Deck or my Steam Deck, like play Battlefield 6. I've been playing quite a bit of Battlefield 6 on this. It runs, you have the sound, you have the visual effects, you have the chaos, you have the multiplayer, all that stuff. Is it the place I want to play Battlefield? No. Am I precise? No. But the fact that I can is awesome. And playing Cyberpunk 20.
No, I say, dude, get yourself a PS5 Pro, and then that extra 300, so no, because you're going to spend 1,100 with the tax, get yourself a Steam Deck. You know what I mean? Or build a nice PC, get a Switch 2 and a Steam Deck, and get yourself a base PS5. You know what I mean? There's so many options rather than spending $1,000 plus tax on this. I just cannot, unless you have everything, or you're like, hey, man, I just got the money and I love me anything that Microsoft gets involved with, so I want to go buy it. Okay, man, that's your free will of choice. I was never against any of that. Ask Dr. Ark. I made a comment to him one time in my video saying, man, go enjoy your device, because I didn't care. I know he pre-ordered 2 of them. But the thing was, so what? That's his money and that's his choice. I was not against that. You guys know what I'm against. So the greed and all that other stuff is just not worth that money.
77, getting some pretty impressive frame rates on it, better than I expected. Again, I'm not like a hardcore tech guy. I've kind of fallen off the wagon there. I like building PCs, but like I'm not counting like clock speed anymore. I fell off is what I'm saying. But as a device, hardware wise though, I have been enjoying it. I like the Steam Deck OLED. That screen, the OLED screen is a little bigger and it's OLED, but this has been doing the job just fine. 1080 is very nice to have. Form factor wise, like when you first mess with this, and my first impressions of this when I saw this a couple of months back in an event, I thought it was a big fucker, pardon my language. That's because it is so thick here. And of course it has these fully ergonomic controller, like Xbox style controller grips. It makes it feel much bigger, but then next to the Steam Deck for real, it's not that much different. And
that's the thing though, you're charging that much more money than the Steam Deck. So like I said before in all my videos, it better be that comfortable. What you giving me $4,000, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think so. It better be comfortable, man.
Thankfully, weight-wise, it's only a little bit heavier. It's not as bad as you would think. I'm actually surprised how much they crammed in here, specifically because the ergonomic hand controller things are really good. I think.
Yeah, I remember when I went to Best Buy. By the way, I just got out of Walmart. I was in there, so it's mostly Nintendo being advertised and PlayStation. There was some Xbox stuff sitting around. It wasn't empty, but it wasn't like mass stacked. Literally just came from Walmart, y'all, which is funny. Just to get some other stuff there. I was also at the other grocery store as well, but. You know, I got to like see how comfortable it was. I mean, it's comfortable. You know what I mean? And I don't think it's a bad thing. I mean, I just think that the price is just ridiculous. So
I think the Steam Deck, and again, all I can speak to is a Steam Deck. I'm a big Steam Deck person. Steam Deck, I feel like it could use a little bit more grip. This, I feel like, might almost be a little bit too much grip. If there was an in-between, that would be perfect for me, but I'm nitpicking Generally, I would say for this, just know that this to me, and I have like larger hands. I'm not like bragging or anything. It's actually a curse.
Same.
But
Oh, I ain't a curse. What you mean,
this
man?
feels like
Having good hands, big
like
hands
I
is
have large
good.
hands, and I'm like, okay, this is pretty big. I feel like if I had smaller hands, I would not enjoy this as much. So keep that in mind. But I've been surprised how loud the speakers are.
Well, Microsoft's known to get involved. Remember that big ass Xbox controller with the Rock was holding when that first came out? Yeah, we called it the Duke controller. I remember one time we would have like LAN parties having multiplayers, and everybody would pick all the other controllers and just leave that big one for whoever didn't get that first. It was like, funny stuff.
I don't know. I can't speak to the quality. I'm not an audiophile, but I have been pretty like, whoa, with how loud the speakers are, specifically
Speakers are
playing
pretty good.
Battlefield 6
I saw
and
that.
hearing whoosh, like as a jet flies over me overhead, the loud explosions and those effects and stuff like that. That's been working out really well. I'll keep going in a sec, but for right now, just a quick word from the sponsor. Hey, now before I keep yapping, this video is sponsored by Factor. If you don't know Factor, they deliver fresh, never frozen, that gives you things like power mode, like how much juice you want to use, how much you want to burn in this device to get better performance, frame rate limiter, resolution change.
He's basically telling you about Armory Crate. Like, I know all about Armory Crate, but there's some people that like to use another aspect alternative to this because they feel like it may have a bit bloat. They have gotten better with Armory Crate because I have ROG stuff. You know what I mean? I know everything about Asus. I'm trying to tell you guys, I've been doing Asus for a long time, so I know them. Armory Crate is cool, and I do like that you can do that. So I'm going to tell as a console player, you might want to study a little bit on this because you can't just think you're going to get this and get on there and you're going to get the best settings automatically like a console. That's the thing. It's like a PC. You have to learn how some things work. You have to change some settings, or you have to have somebody help you. It's not easy, guys, sometimes with some of this stuff. And you may not know you need to download this, do all this stuff that PC gamers would know. That's what I say. It's more like a PC. So you could tell somebody that, but when they get their experience, well, what are these people going to do if they don't know what they're doing, if they haven't been on a PC? That's what I'm saying. Stop lying to them because you need to be aware of what you're about to get so you can know how to use it and what the hell's going to be in there. If you just think it's just a console and you're just plugging in and playing, that's not true, man, because you're not going to get those experiences. You need to learn more about PC gaming if you want to get this. It's dumb to make somebody think otherwise, I'm telling you.
Changes,
that's
changing
intelligence,
the
that's
color
knowledge.
lights. I turned them blue because blue is my favorite color, but all those types of things, right? All those performance profiles and things you would access on the Steam Deck with the little button on the side then and have it pop up on the side, right? Here you have all that and it pops up in a completely different UI and art style compared to the rest of the device. And this is a menu that you're going to be accessing fairly frequently. So
Yeah.
it's just another weird choice. It's Xbox's whole collaboration thing with Asus here, not making their own flagship device. This
No. It's a Asus PC device with Xbox full screen. If it has Xbox experiences on there, I have no problem with that. I just wouldn't call it that. Because like, no, this is PC stuff. When you have to deal with all these problems and stuff, it's going to be like dealing with a Windows 11. You know what I mean? Windows 11 is PC. It's not an argument. It's exactly what it is.
to me very much feels like Xbox was excited about the work they put into the Xbox full screen experience, and they wanted to partner with a third party company in order to get that out on like what would be a flagship type device. And I think through software updates and tweaks like that, like some growing pain things are probably going to get figured out. It's interesting because you can just launch with the Steam kind of big picture visual here. You still have to deal with all the usual Steam pop-ups and stuff like that.
Correct. And Microsoft has never done anything like this. That's why I tell people you do not want them to do official handheld because they don't know what they're doing. Learn from people who knew what they were doing first. It doesn't make any sense to try to go for the Xbox handheld like that. No, man. That's too much of a risk. That's why they denied the 10 million demand that AMD said, no, we'll just go with Asus then because it's not easy like you think. Handheld industry is tough. Nobody buys them. You know what I mean? Only Nintendo dominates everything. And then that was sub PlayStation before that. The handheld industry is tougher than the console industry. It is.
But some of it is minimized. Epic Game Launcher is not the greatest to navigate, and you don't technically have like a trackpad here, but the touchscreen, it's okay. So there's clunky aspects to it. And I mentioned a lot of that stuff. Windows stuff not really always working, or sometimes being finicky. Windows being Windows. Identity crisis stuff like the Armory Crate button and all that. To essentially bring to my point where it's like, this is $1,000 device. And as good as it is, performance-wise, been having a great time with it, form factor, all that, it still feels like a weird mishmash Frankenstein thing. And I think ultimately, and I'm addressing it this way because I've seen a lot of consumer sentiment, a lot of people excited about this thing as their first handheld. I think that if you're going into it as your first handheld, your first PC gaming handheld, especially if you're a novice to PC stuff, you just need to know that there's going to be some frustrating aspects to it, some finickiness to it, some updates you're going to need.
See, guys, this guy's being your friend. So am I, regardless of what you say about me, because I'm telling you what you're about to get. So you don't think it's a damn console and you're going to pick up and plug and play and that's it. No, no, no. You're going to get frustrated because you're like, man, I thought this was a console. See, you don't want that. You want to know what the hell you're getting. So you're going to have to be dealing with PC problems that you do not want because that's why you bought the console in the first place, to avoid that shit. And AGN was trying to tell you that.
You're going to need to restart a bunch. Shit's going to crash. I had a couple of hard crashes here. So I can't say like run out right now and buy this thing for $1,000 unless you're a hardcore freak with a big bank account. No offense. But I think it really comes down to you and like what type of device you're looking for, because that's the beauty, like not to like pivot off to another thing, not really about this, but that is the beauty of handheld PC gaming right now. It is kind of the Wild West, and you see different interpretations of it. The GPD Win, if you want to like spend a bunch of money. There's the MSI Claw, which is technically, I believe technically a little more powerful. This certainly has a bigger battery life. The Legion Go for a bit more like hybrid functionality. Of course, the Steam Deck for all the fruit that bears with Linux and just all the work that Valve has put into that thing. And then you have this one, which is essentially probably the more streamlined and best example of Windows handheld gaming, right? But it still proved to me at the end of the day, like you can't ever completely hide Windows. You can't escape Windows. It's just like in your life, like whatever you do for a living or just in the world, you can't escape Windows. It's everywhere. And the same goes for a gaming handheld. Other than Steam Deck, of course. So after using it heavily for a few days, like I said, playing some casual games here and there, some more hardcore games, more intensive games like Battlefield 6, being absolutely addicted to Megabonk because my brain is just fried. And then playing a few things on this that I'm reviewing that I can't talk about yet, I can say, yes, it is a good device. It has little things here and there, but what comes with that is versatility, where like as much as I love the beauty and simplicity and almost artful nature of a Steam Deck, right? And all of that, you know, I get a little bit more capability with this. Again, I just think it comes down to like what type of user you are, what you want from a handheld PC gaming device.
Well, I've been telling people, what do you want?
Escape from Windows with compromises, or do you want the full PC gaming Windows experience with some bullshit here and there? They've done a good job trying to minimize some of that, like I said, but the reality is it's still going to be there. But I can't deny the form factor I've really, really enjoyed as someone with terrible posture and just sits on the couch shrimp mode. It's been working out good, and especially the fact that the screen is angled a little bit differently. It's actually kind of this way, not this way. That's actually been pretty good. It's something that I was like, oh, that's kind of weird when you set it down on a table, but when you're holding it, it just makes sense. I miss my OLED screen on the Steam Deck OLED, but other than that, from a playing experience, you know, the joysticks, the fact that these have like the better triggers with like the rumble and everything like that, it's been good all around. I'll talk more about this more in a Game Ranks video in the next day.
So there we have it. He pretty much gives us our experience. As you guys know, when I cover a lot of things on YouTube, I usually do a ton of videos giving all different points of view around the world, not just mine. I do this for multiple subjects, bringing you guys facts and truth and just looking for people's perspective that are not biased either, because they're going to be more honest. And that's what we want on this channel, so you can know what you're getting here. All right, y'all, let me know what you guys think about this. Once again, just bringing you more angles. I didn't slam anything here. We were just basically, you know, giving you another angle. All right, y'all, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think. Later.